My goodness. Good morning, everybody. Well, my name's Siobhan Kearney, as I hope you know by now, and I run my own business called At One Wellbeing. And you know what? I'm really delighted to be supporting Nervin in the group that they have established, especially at this time, trying to make us feel fabulous, when at times it's really quite normal to feel fed up. And it's only when you're feeling fed up more than you usually would that you really begin to think, what is it I need to do? And see all of the posts and all of the positivity that's coming through on Fed Up to Fabulous is fabulous. So Louise put up the post last night to say that I would be talking to you today about motivation and about really that inner voice that sometimes can hold us back from doing the things that we really want to do. This video today is a wee bit longer because we're going to include an exercise in it to help you really to begin to think what it is that you can do for yourself right now to improve how you think about things, because how we think about things has such a massive impact on how happy we feel or how fabulous we feel. And I know from personal experience that sometimes how I think can really, bring me down. And if that goes on and on and on, well, do you know what? It's harder to get back up again. And I would always say that to really be able even to recognize how you're thinking about things, to recognize how you're talking to yourself, is a really positive first step in managing those thoughts and emotions. So who wants to have that inner critic ruling their lives? Who wants to have that voice inside their head saying, you're not good enough? Why are you even trying it? Sure, you could never do it. Why and under God do you think that you could do that? You're not good enough. You are fat. You are flabby. You are this. You are that. And that inner voice that can go on and on and on. And you know what? Most of the time it's quite subconscious, that we're not even aware of it, that we don't even bring it out into the open and say, so you're my inner voice? Like, seriously? And as Louise said, feeling that, you are not good enough, and feeling that, you look in the mirror and you go like, for God's sake, I do not rock. Louise's post last night says, you rock. Sometimes we just don't feel like we're rocking and rolling it. So what I want to do today is, number one, talk about motivation. And I'm going to talk about addressing the inner critic and some techniques that you can try and put in place for yourself to address that inner critic. Number three, I'm going to talk about thinking styles, right? So the subconscious thinking styles that we all have, because we have millions of thoughts every day. And if those millions of thoughts are negative, well, what's that doing to our self-confidence, our self-esteem, our feelings of fabulousness? Well, it's not doing a great job. So there's three things that we're going to talk about today. And the reason that we have bunched these together is because when you think about the things that you want to do, say, for example, you want to tone up, or you want to, write a book, or you want to learn how to plant vegetables, or you want the things that really would make your life feel better. And yet you get up every day and you say in the morning time, today is the day. I'll give you one example. So I know that walking is good for my physical health and also good for my mental health. And for months, and I'm not lying when I say months and months and months, I would have woke up every morning saying, today is the day. Get the trainers on, get out and walk. And what happened? Nothing. Well, you can imagine the conversation I was having with myself at bedtime. I was like, oh, typical. Oh, you can never do anything. Oh, you keep saying these things and nothing ever happens. That made me feel like absolute rubbish. So it was like, right, tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow, out, up, walk. And it never happened. And this pattern kept going on and on and on. Because what I was doing to myself was setting myself up to fail because, number one, my motivation levels were not right. Number two, I was beating myself up big time. Big time. That made me feel even worse. That made my motivation levels even lower. So that conversation that you have with yourself sometimes can be either the best conversation of the day or the worst conversation of the day. And generally for me, for example, it's the worst conversation of the day because I have yet to see anybody from my family circle, from my friend circle coming up and saying, you're not good enough. You can't do it. Because see, if they did, I would give them a very, very short shift. So what is it about me that makes that okay? And Louise put up in the post yesterday evening to say, what would your best friend say to you in a situation like this? And sometimes that can be really, really helpful. If you're stuck in a negative thinking pattern, one thing you can say, well, if my friend was sitting here and I said these things that I'm saying to myself to her, would he say, yeah, you're right? In fact, I was delivering a program, which one was it? I'm Some Woman, right? And it was all about that feeling, about being fabulous and about being some woman. And there was a participant in the program said that her sister used to say, oh my God, I look at the size of me. I am absolutely, oh my God, I've put on so much weight. I am absolutely huge. And for a long time, the sister would have went, not at all, wise up. There's not a thing wrong with you. And then when the sister said it one day, the other one said, do you know what? You're right. You look awful. And well, how dare you say something like that to me? So isn't it amazing that we tolerate saying things like that to ourselves, but if somebody else was to say it, we wouldn't tolerate it for one moment. So what I want to do today, particularly focus on that inner critic, that inner voice that says, don't even try it, don't even do it, you're rubbish, you're crap, you're whatever it is you say to yourself. And you know what, when you start to listen to that voice in your head and look at how that impacts upon your motivation, even sometimes to get up and put your makeup on, even sometimes to get up and brush your hair, even sometimes to put your feet on the ground in the morning. Because motivation is a very, very, very personal thing. And I find that I am the best person to motivate myself. And 95% of the time, it comes down to how I talk to myself, right? How I talk to myself. That, you know what, I can do anything. I can do this. And just take a wee bit of time every day to reflect on what it is you have achieved. Because if we're constantly beating ourselves up and saying, oh my God, you didn't do it, and oh, I failed at this and I failed at that. And when you think of the immense amount of stress and pressure that we're under at the minute, I'm thinking about people who are homeschooling, people who are working from home, people who are furloughed, people who are actually in work, and that's stress. And you're thinking about all of that can make you feel really, really low. So in recognizing these things and bringing attention to these things, that's what I want to do today. And I hope so far that this makes sense to you. One thing I want to say before I start to talk about the inner critic and how to silence it is, for me, when I think about my life and how I approach my life, sometimes I, live in the past, way back there. And then other times I've got this magical crystal ball and I'm living way out there. And you know what? See, the things that happened in my past, they're gone. They are absolutely and totally gone. I can do absolutely nothing to change anything that happened in my past, right? I can change nothing. I can't live there because it's gone. And some of us, live in the past. And I hear people saying, oh God, I remember that time that, and this one said and that one said, and I felt like this and I felt like that. And they did this to me. And they said that to me. And we're bringing that right into the here and now. That serves no purpose other than to keep us in a miserable spot. And sometimes now, I have to admit I do it myself, I live in this future. Oh my God, imagine if I couldn't get up and go up to Mummy and Daddy's house. Imagine if I couldn't do. And I wonder what's going to happen next month. And I wonder where I'm going to be. And I wonder who's going to be in my life. So I can spend quite a lot of time in the future. And you know what? That future is not here yet. I cannot physically project myself into the future. The time machine has not been invented, regardless of what others might say, including Marty McFly for anybody who remembers. I can't live in the future. The only place I can live in is right here, right now, standing in my kitchen at whatever o'clock in the morning, doing this video for Nerwin. I am living right here, right now. And that is where peace of mind exists. Peace of mind does not exist in what you're thinking about the past or what you're projecting into the future. Peace of mind exists right here, right now. And you know what? The beauty of that is that when we're living in the present moment, we can savor every moment that we live. Savor the positive things that are happening in our lives. Address some of the negativity that's taken place in our lives. And you know what? When you have negative people and negative influences in your life, that doesn't make things any better. But as Louise said yesterday, what we want to do today is talk about how you talk to yourself. So this exercise that I'm going to try and draw now, this is a bit tricky because I have to turn my back to you and all of this. But anyway, I think you know me well enough now, sure we'll have a better crack with it. So anyway, blank piece of paper, right? So what I'm going to do is draw my own self-critic, right? And I'm going to then talk through why my self-critic looks like it does. So here we are. So head, horns, slitty eyes, sharp nose, downturned mouth. Can you see that? Yeah? I know it looks a bit like a cat, but bear with me, I'm not a great artist. So then it has got this sort of a body here, right? Kind of stick man, right? And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Right, so there's my inner critic. Siobhan Kearney's inner critic. Does it look scary to you? Doesn't look that scary to me, you see. But that thing can run rampant inside my head. And look at it. Seriously, look at it. But how it looks is only one thing, right? But what the most important thing is what it says to you, right? And then actually how it says it. Right? Can you read that okay? I hope you can. So, say my inner critic says, you'll never get to the walking. Sure, you know rightly you can't be bothered. Sure, you've tried it before and you failed. Sure, why would you even start? You don't even like walking. So this constant thing that's going on in my head, what do you think that's doing to my motivation? Really importantly, in this inner critic, is how it speaks to you, right? So it's a tone of voice. So mine says to me, do you know what, Siobhan? You will never succeed. You will never tone up. You may walk all you like, but you will never, ever, right? That sounds a bit sinister, I know, first thing in the morning, but that's how my inner critic talks to me. And do you know why it uses that sort of like sneaky, snake-like voice? Because I link my inner critic into the values that I have. The values of transparency, the values of openness, the values of honesty. That's how I live my life. You think about your own values and how you live your life. This inner critic goes against every single value that I have and that I hold dear. About people being upfront, people being open. I don't like people who are backdoor, behind doors, behind my back, stabbing me in the back. I cannot bear it. I kind of don't associate myself with people like that. So naturally enough, my inner critic is going to take on the tone of voice that goes directly against the values that I hold so dear. So what it says to me, how it says to me, how it looks. Of course it's going to look like a horned beast because it jags me and pokes me all the time. Look at the eyes, slitty, slanty eyes, sneaky inner critic. Comes up behind me before I even notice sneaky, sly inner critic, right? Downturned mouth, miserable, absolutely miserable. My inner critic does not say, Siobhan, you are amazing. Siobhan, you are fabulous. Siobhan, you are spectacular. This thing brings me right down to my knees sometimes. I don't like being on my knees. So what I do when I think about my inner critic is I think about this. Sharp nose, nebby. Maybe that's like a term that we use in my part of the world, but nebby, you know, like nebby, right? Really skinny old, skinny body. Because you know what, it can slip and slide. It's like a mouse that can go right in under the door. So what it says to me, how it says to me, the tone of voice, how it looks, and then the types of words, and then how I challenge. So being aware of this inner critic, right? And honestly, do take a look at this. If you were to draw out your own inner critic today on an A4 piece of paper and draw what it looks like, draw and actually write down the types of things it says to you and how it says it and the tone of voice that it uses and the things that it says to just annoy you. The most important thing for us today is to talk about how we challenge this. How we challenge this. Because you know what I do with this? Just give me one moment until I get a piece of kitchen. So this is my inner critic. This is what it says to me. It makes me feel like absolute and total rubbish. I mean, absolutely, totally like rubbish. This inner critic is very, very damaging because of the words that it uses against me, because of the things that it says to me, because of the effect it has on my motivation. If you consistently tell yourself you can't do it, well, you're going to believe that, let's face it. If you consistently tell yourself, I will do it, that actually works. So it's about being mindful of this thing here and having the power all the time, every single time. Rub it out. Change the thought. Do away with it. Look at that. It's totally gone. So what I would invite you to do today, if you feel up to it, and I have an exercise that I can email to you, which goes into this in much more detail. I have an exercise that I can email which gives you instructions on how to draw your inner critic and then how to silence that inner critic, because you know what, there's nothing more empowering in recognizing it, drawing it out, giving it that tone of voice, giving it its behaviors, giving it the things that it says to you and how it says to you and how it looks and why it looks that way, and just think, right, okay, what am I doing to myself? What am I doing to myself? Because you know as well as I know, and I said it before, that if somebody come up to me in the street and says your hair is absolutely wild looking, look at the wrinkles in your face, see those glasses, you do not suit them one bit. Well, I wouldn't exactly like hit them a slap, but I would feel like hitting them a slap and saying, wise up, get out of my face. And sometimes we get ourselves into this awful pattern of negativity and pattern of negative thinking and pattern of bringing ourselves down. Well, you know what? You deserve more. You deserve more because you are fabulous. You deserve more because, you know what? You can do this. We all deserve to live a good, happy life. And if we can start by addressing the inner critic, looking at some of the thinking styles that we have, and I will do another video particularly focused on thinking styles because they are fundamental to how we live our lives. And sometimes they're so automatic that we don't even recognize them. But today I just wanted to talk about the inner critic and how to silence it. And that kindness that you can show to yourself, that you do show to others. You show kindness to others every single day. Nearly in every action that I take every day is a kindness to other people. But what I have learned through all of the experience that I have in life is that if I'm not kind to myself, I am actually drinking out of an empty glass. And I cannot drink out of an empty glass. I have got to keep my own glass topped up, because you know what? If you get to a stage where that inner critic and the way that you think about things is really affecting you, that affects your relationships and what you can do for other people. So listen, that wee exercise is just really, really simple. I know it's a lot longer than the videos I normally do for Nerwin, but this is for their YouTube channel. And I would invite you today just to start thinking about how you speak to yourself, how you talk to yourself, what your inner critic looks like, what it does to you, how it makes you feel. And there is your first step in addressing that inner critic. Draw it out, crumple it up, and throw it in the bin. Right? So it's about empowering yourself and feeling your own power, because that is so incredibly important. It's important all the time, but it's even more important now when we're living in different circumstances and we may be feeling a lot more pressurized. So listen, thank you very much. I hope you found that interesting. And as I say, I will do another video maybe later this week about the negative automatic thinking styles, how to recognize them and how to change them. Because this stuff is fundamental to living a good, happy and absolutely fabulous life. All right? Have a great day. Bye.